Welcome to My Favorite Drum Gear. I'm Brady. Today, we're taking a look at Lemon's 10-inch wooden dual-trigger mesh-headed drum. You'll find it online. It's listed on Alibaba as the Lemon Drum Pad 10-inch dual-zone wooden mesh drum parts for electronic drum with tom holder and clamp. I ordered this drum through Alibaba. I do have an update in this video on a way that makes ordering through Alibaba just a little bit more convenient. So in this video, we're going to look at Lemon's 10-inch mesh head dual trigger drum. We're going to see how it shows up. We're going to get it out. We're going to see how it looks. We'll take a look at what's on the inside, how well it's made. We'll see how it plays. We'll take a look at how it compares to some other Roland model drums. And finally, I'll give an overall review. Please like and subscribe to this channel. And also, in the comments below, please tell me what you'd like to see me review or what you'd like me to take a look at next, and I'll see what I can do. So stick around for the Lemon 10-inch mesh head dual trigger drum review. If you're a subscriber to this channel, you'll know that we've already reviewed Lemon's hi-hat and controller, as well as their 18-inch 3-zone ride cymbal. I had great things to say about their 3-zone ride cymbal, and with a slight no-cost tweak, the Lemon hi-hat and controller perform really, really well. So now, as opposed to the cymbals, which are making their way to the United States and folks are becoming pretty aware of them and their quality, let's take a look at one of their drums. We're looking at Lemon's 10-inch mesh-headed 2-trigger drum. This is a rim and a head trigger. We're going to walk through an unboxing. I'm going to take a good hard look at the specifications of the drum. I'm going to take it apart and we're going to see what's on the inside, how it's all put together, and then I'll put it back together and we're going to see how it plays and how it compares to some other comparable Roland models. In addition, I found an option on Alibaba.com's website that really cuts down, if you choose, on the shipping time. So that means you can get your products a little bit or a lot quicker than you're used to. Now, these products from Lemon so far have tended to be of decent quality, and the cost difference between Roland or even Yamaha or Alesis is pretty significant. So what I'm trying to find out here is whether or not you could build an entire kit from Lemon drums and have it be of comparable quality at a fraction of the price of the folks that we're used to. Now, I've issued a challenge to me and in effect to you. If I can get to 1,000 subscribers on this channel, I'm going to get a hold of Lemon's top tier electronic drums and module and do a full review of absolutely everything, so we'll know if they're not only quality drums, cymbals, and hardware, but also to get into that module and see just what it all can do. So like and subscribe to be a part of this journey with me, and we'll get started with this 10-inch drum. Here's the unboxing. Okay, so this just in from the folks at Lemon. Box, as usual, arrives thin cardboard, plenty of tape, decently beat up, but all in one piece. So let's see what we've got in here. So this one does come with some bubble wrap around the additional pieces. First, we have a clamp to hook onto the rack. Now this is kind of nice because this one does open all the way. Feels good and sturdy. So this is the bracket from the Lemon. This is a bracket from Roland. Just a little bit more rounded on the Roland. In addition, the Roland is just a little bit taller. The top here, the Roland just has a nicer finish as opposed to the flat top. And I'll get the diameter here, but the Roland is actually just a touch thicker. The Roland's got some little grippy stuff here. The Lemon seems to have this little lip right here. You'll see here, Roland does fit in the Lemon bracket. You'll see here there's a little divot in the clamp. This rod fits right in, keeps it from completely letting go. Of course, you can ignore it altogether if you'd like to. Getting now into the drum. So here we have it. Now the first thing I'm noting is that this does not take a drum key, but actually takes a hex key or an Allen wrench. The mesh feels a little bit more coarse than on a Roland. Pretty attractive black sparkle. And then the underneath is a plastic with your input there. Looking now at the clamp, just a pretty basic. And we fit in just fine. Looking now at the measurement, it's nice to see that a 10-inch drum is 10 inches. As far as depth, we're right about 4.5 inches deep for the whole drum. Length at the bottom comes in a little under a foot when you count for the lugs. As far as weight, it's just under 4 pounds, which translates to almost 64 ounces, 1.8 kilograms. So one thing we had talked about that I don't really love about this drum right off the bat is the fact that it doesn't use a drum key, but it does use one of these Allen wrenches or hex keys. I have found that the 5mm size is what works the best for these. And so let's go ahead and take this drum head off and just see what we can find underneath. So the head is ready to come off. Got what you would expect, your metal hoop. The rubber around it is glued in the front. It's loose here in the back, and off comes the head. This is a 2-ply head. It's just a little bit more rough, I think. The Roland heads are a little bit smoother, but really no problem with the quality of the head. Now your wooden shell is free floating. Glue feels like it's glued down just fine. Getting into the inside, you'll see here, got a nice, thick, firm piece of foam. Got our wires running over to our control. And here is our piezo pickup with just stacks and stacks of foam on top of it to get it up to where it needs to be. The machining on the inside, you can see here, is pretty rough, but that obviously does not matter at all. And there's your drum, folks. So I will note that if you thought about swapping out a regular tension rod for what they've got here, you will see that what they're using is just a touch thicker, and so you can't actually just easily swap things out. Before we start playing this drum, I'd like to share something that I found on Alibaba's website. It's an option that in the days of Amazon we don't tend to look at anymore, but I think it's probably worthwhile for you to know. So we all know that the great thing about Alibaba is the price. The terrible thing is the shipping. Now here's something that I stumbled upon. Maybe you're smarter than me and have already found it. But here we have $25 to ship a $35 item. If you go right here to where you can change the delivery options, for just $5 more, you can get this thing delivered about a month or so, a month or more earlier than going by the standard ocean container ship. So instead of showing up in this case at October 31st at the earliest, here we can choose, depending on how much more we want to pay, to have it as early as October 4th for, again, just $5 more. So when you're looking at ordering some of these lemon products and understanding that while the price is great, the shipping is expensive and the lag time between delivery is longer than most of us like, take a look at that added expedited delivery. It's basically sending it by air versus sending it by cargo ship. You pay a little bit more for it, and then this is scalable. So if it's a very large, heavy item, that cost does go up some, but still, if you want to get your item a little bit quicker for a little bit more, think about using that air freight. And now let's start testing the playability of these lemon drums. So you'll see here I have a PDX8 as Tom 1. I have a PD80 as Tom 2. I have the lemon drum as Tom 3. And they are all set identically to PDX8s, and I've not changed the sensitivity to any of them. They're all set up to be identical drums. So that you can hear the differences in sensitivities. It is obvious right off the bat that the lemon drum is higher in sensitivity because of that big piece of foam right in the center. So what I'll do is turn the sensitivity down some to match. But now that we've got them matched, let's check out the hot spotting and see what that looks like. So what I'm finding here is that there's no hot spotting whatsoever. There, of course, is additional sensitivity right over the foam pickup, but that happens on any drum that you're using. So this drum is acting like any foam piezo pickup type drum. So as a snare drum, I think this does act a little bit more natural actually than the V drums, but I'm not saying that I like it anymore. It's a little bit hard to do low volume ghost notes on the center of the head because it is extra sensitive. For a snare drum, I feel like I have a little bit more control over the Roland drums with the sensors, the foam at the bottom, than in the center. If we're using this drum as a tom, I do very much like the fact that I can thwack it right in the center and get a nice, loud, hard sound, more so than I feel like with some of the Roland drums. So what are my overall thoughts of this Lemon 10-inch mesh-headed dual-trigger drum? I think fairly highly of it, especially considering that you can have it shipped to your door for less than $100. The sensitivity and responsiveness are on par with that of Roland, and I think that pretty much tells the story of Lemon's equipment so far. I think it is to be expected that Lemon is cutting some corners where it tends not to matter too much. For example, their L rod is a little bit shorter and a little bit thinner diameter than that of Roland. But at the same time, the fact that their bracket opens up all the way to clamp directly onto a rack, instead of having to disassemble your rack and slide the brackets back onto the tubes before reassembling, I think is a plus. All in all, this acts the way you want your electronic drum to. As far as negatives, I have two. First off, the foam that is just glued to stack up to hit the top of the mesh head isn't really on straight. It looks like it was done haphazardly. That said, the glue is holding firm, the pickup is sandwiched well, and the whole thing does work. It's just a little bit of a, I guess, craftsmanship or manufacturing issue that I wish would have been done a little bit better. The big problem here that I have is the use of those screws with a hex key or Allen wrench head as opposed to a traditional drum key head. This is just one more thing that I have to keep around and not lose in order to tighten the tensions on the heads or swap them out someday. Part of being an acoustic, hybrid, or electronic drummer is having the right gear and the right tools on hand to be able to fix problems when they arise, and I really do have a problem with having to have an extra hex key or Allen wrench sitting around in the case I need to adjust a single drum. To me, this seemingly small issue is a big enough deal to take down my rating for this drum an entire point. That said, I'm going to give an overall rating of the Lemon 10-inch dual trigger tom a 4 out of 5. As far as my needs, they're pretty simple. I want it to feel right and I want it to be responsive. And in those two cases, this drum fits that bill very well. If it would have normal tension rods that would adjust with a drum key, I don't think I would have any issues whatsoever with this drum. And again, the price. Shipped to your door for around or less than $100 depending on where you're living, or depending on whether or not you take advantage of Alibaba's expedited shipping. So based on the items from Lemon that I've reviewed so far, their hi-hat and controller, their 18-inch 3-zone ride, and now this 10-inch dual-zone drum, I think Lemon's shaping up to be a contender, and especially the affordable contender for electronic drums. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment below with the next thing you'd like to see me review, and please like and subscribe, remembering that if I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to get Lemon's top-tier drum set and module to do a full, thorough review. Thanks for watching.